Board.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Deb Gray Eagle, and I'm here to do a class on self-care with herbs and essential oils, part 1. It's part 1 of 2. Tonight, we're going to do 4 herbal items using making infused oils and using them. And then the part 2 will be other things besides infused oils, using herbs for other things. So tonight, we're going to be making an infused oil, and from that, we're going to make a massage oil, healing salve, lip balms, and some lotion bars. So to start with, we'll start with the beginning, how to make essential oils. I mean, not essential oils, infused oils. So you'll need a good clean jar, and then a plant, and it should be dried. You can dry your own. For instance, I use dandelions, and you can gather your dandelions and let them dry overnight or for a day or two, and then they're dry enough to put in with your oil and make an infused oil. Dandelions are good for a lot of skin things, and they're just really, that makes a nice yellow oil. Tonight, we're going to use lemon balm, which is a good all-around plant, grows easily. It's, I think it's in the mint family. That's what we're going to use to make our infused oil. But again, you can use many, many plants. And in the handout for this workshop, it lists some of the herbs that you might think about using, what they're good for, and so on. So we're going to put our, and for the herb, you want to do about 1 part herb and 2 parts oil. So in a jar, you'd be putting about 1/3 to 1/2 of, we'll put 1/2 of these lemon balm leaves. And then we're going to add oil, a carrier oil. And carrier oils are any of your, preferably should always be organic oils, but it could be any of your pure oils. Like you don't want to use vegetable oil like Crisco oil or anything like that. But we're going to use organic extra virgin olive oil. That's a good all around. It's one of the least expensive oils for a carrier oil. But there's also coconut oil. There's also sesame oil. Almond oil is a very nice, it's absorbed real well. But we're going, for most of my things, I use the olive oil just because you can do large quantities of things and it's relatively inexpensive. So then we're going to cover these herbs. Fill the jar about up to the shoulder, not all the way, because as those herbs infuse, they're dried right now, so they're going to swell a little bit, and we want to allow them room to do that. And make sure that the herbs are all surrounded with the oil so that the constituents of the plants or the so-called medicine can absorb, can leach into the oil. Mix that all up.
Just go ahead and listen and then afterward chew.
There's 2 ways to infuse it, the long way and the short way. The long way would be just to take this and put it maybe on top of your refrigerator or some warm spot, and then just let it sit. And every day when you walk by it, give it a shake. You can do that. And something light like lemon balm leaves will infuse probably in a week or so, but you can leave it a couple. It doesn't matter how long you leave it. But the short way, if you wanted to get making medicines from this, would be you could use a crock pot. And the one thing with a crock pot is you'd want to have one of the more modern crock pots that has a warm setting. The low setting is still a little bit hot. It tends to make your oil a little bit hot. But the warm setting is just perfect. You can put a couple inches of water, and then you can put your jar in there, and you could probably overnight 3 hours maybe, but even overnight would be better. Just on warm, and then you will see like the plant matter will sort of sink and start to look dark and just used up. And at that point, you know that it's ready. The other thing I just want to mention, always label your medicines and things that you're making, because you think you won't forget, but believe me, you do. So I'm going to write on here, lemon balm oil. Today's December 1st. Always put the date, then you know when it started and when it should be ready, or how old it is, because most of these oils will last about a year. So you know how long it would be good for. So then you always know what it is, but sometimes plants will start to look alike. So then you can put it into the water bath, or you could let it set, but we're gonna just demonstrate putting it on a warm setting. And this is one that is already ready, but this way you get to see both and we don't have to wait 3 hours for it. So this is lemon balm and plantain infused oil. And you can kind of see how the plant matter is down in the bottom, but all that good stuff, constituents and stuff from the plants are in that oil now.
So you don't have to drain the
That's what we're
bottom
gonna do
part?
next.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I'm just showing, this is how it starts.
Starts, that's been sitting for,
This is
3 hours?
This has actually been infusing since we were going to have our last class on
okay.
11/9. So it's
It's
very
ready.
well infused.
It's very infused.
Yes. Nice, strong, it'll make good medicine for things in good time. So now, so you have your oils ready. I'm gonna use muslin. You could use cheesecloth if you have it. I find that muslin is a strong material. Cheesecloth will sometimes tear. You have to do multiple layers, but I find this works really well. You have a colander and a bowl to catch underneath. So we're gonna. And these white caps, you might be wondering, because these are canning jars, but you can buy these on Amazon. I like using them because you don't have any metal. And so that way it doesn't, if you have anything, like say you were going to use vinegar or something like that, there's nothing that's going to corrode, you know, just.
Yeah, because I know someone had a discussion about one of Linda's Zoom or her online yesterday, they were talking about rust of, you know, the cans and stuff. I guess I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, especially if you were doing like vinegar infusions. Oh, and just a little aside on what an infusion is. When you think about it, it's a way to get the good vitamins and good medicines out of the plant. But when you think about it, when you make a cup of tea, you've got your plant leaves or flowers, right, in a bag or in a sieve or something, and you're pouring that hot water over. That's an infusion. When you make a cup of tea, that's an infusion. We're making an infusion with oil. You can also make infusions with honey. It's called something different, but it's still infused. Like right now I've got red onion infusing in honey. That's really good for coughs and mucus and stuff. You can, what's another infusion? Vinegar. Okay, your tarragon vinegar and things like that. Those are infusions of herbs in vinegar. And the vinegar pulls those flavors and everything out. And then the other one that's real useful is alcohol. Putting your herbs just like this, but with alcohol, and waiting about 6 or 8 weeks. And especially some of your tougher plants, like the curly cup gumweed and some of those that have like a more resinous type of
kind of a thick residue type.
Yeah. They come out better in alcohol than anything else. You can make a cup of tea with it, but you don't get all the goodness out of it, but the alcohol will really pull it out. And then an alcohol tincture, once you strain that, you can put it into little bottles. You only need like a dropper full, you know, at a time.
Really?
So, and they're good for years and years. So if you don't mind alcohol, you know, some of my friends don't use alcohol or whatever, but if you're okay with that, alcohol is a really good medium too for
Making infusion.
Making infusions, yep. And when you use alcohol, then it's called a tincture.
Oh, okay,
heard of
yeah,
that term.
tincture, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just pouring this into the strainer. Just let that soak through a little bit, then I'm going to help it along. So muslin, cheesecloth, you could even use an old clean t-shirt, you know, to strain your oils. Or kind of the same thing when you make the elderberry elixir. Your
Yeah,
elderberry syrup, you're straining and you're pulling the spent plant material out of it and saving the good stuff. If you wanted to make a huge batch, you could use the bottom of your crock pot on low and just do your infusing in there and have a huge batch. I do it in the jars. Beth White Mountain suggested that because you don't have to make huge amounts at once. And I like doing different infused oils and not having a huge amount of one thing. So it's kind of handy.
Beth is on. Hi, Beth. Were your ears ringing?
Yeah, that was compliments of her. And the basic recipe goes back to Linda Black Elk's ethnobotany class, the basics, but then you can take off and you can do so many things. It's pretty neat. Okay, so we have our oil, and I think the first thing we'll do is a massage oil, because this is ready as a massage oil. The only thing you might want to do is add an essential oil to it. Essential oils they usually come in little bottles like this, and they're the essence from the plant that's been distilled. So they're not the same as a carrier oil. Carrier oil is like the olive oil that we're using for infusion. These little oils are essential oils, and they can enhance. I kind of call it layering. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But so we're going to make a massage oil, put it in a mister bottle, and we could add some essential oils to give it a little smell, to add maybe some good qualities that you might want to put in. So I think for
And you're gonna put these in dropper bottles?
mister bottles. These are little bottles you
Okay.
can get. This is a 1 ounce one. They come in 2 ounce and 4 ounce. And then we'll put the little spray.
Oh, got you. Okay.
So first,
And you got those at Amazon or?
Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. If you have questions, guys, on live feed, go ahead and start asking.
This is a small funnel. It's just perfect for these bottles, and get the oil in there instead of all over the table. Yeah, I'm just going to do it to the shoulder because we want room for the sprayer to fit in there. And I think
So you don't put your drops in the infused oil. You do it until you get in the mister, and then.
because somebody else might want to use a different one. For
Oh,
different
okay.
class. You could, if you were doing them all the same, it would be easy to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to put yours in a bottle for after, and you can think about what essential oil you might want to put in. Again, at the end of the handout, there's a list of essential oils and some of the qualities, healing properties and stuff of them that you might want to look at for how you want to use your massage oil. Okay. So I'm going to put a little ylang ylang in there. It's kind of a flower, but it's relaxing, and
What is it called?
Ylang-ylang. It's a flower essence. If you look at the
Boost
list
mood,
of the
balance
essential
hormones.
oil properties, it says ylang-ylang. It boosts mood, balances hormones, relieves stress, and it's anti-inflammatory. So
What's it smell like?
peppermint, all kinds of. Smells like
Is it like a baby?
It's a gentle kind of flower essence. And then maybe with that, we'll put a little bit of thyme. Thyme is good for relaxing muscles and for 1 ounce, 10 to 12 drops of essential oil is about the right dilution. That's a 2% dilution, and that's what's considered safe for adults. If you were doing it for a child, you might want to use a half for an
Half.
infant and one, half of it for 1% for a child. So then you put and the other thing, this is just this is optional. This is vitamin E oil, and if you put just a drop or two of vitamin E oil, it acts as a preservative. Plus, it's just another good healing oil. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit in there.
And the cool part about essential oils, you really don't need a whole lot.
And
So your essential oils will last longer.
Yeah.
So if you're planning
they-
to make any of this, you can use your essential oils for quite some time.
yes. In fact, more is not better with essential oils. If you use too much, you can actually cause yourself to have a reaction, or somebody might have a skin reaction to it or something. Some of your oils are pretty safe, but there's others like your mints and stuff, or cinnamon. Those are a little bit hot, when they're on your skin. Cinnamon could but something like lavender is probably pretty safe. It's really mild, but you don't know that, so it's better just play it safe. So here we have a massage oil. Rolled it around so it's all mixed. And again, we always are going to label.
And you just label what's in it,
Mhm.
and you label as
So this is lemon balm and plantain infused oil with essential oils. I use thyme and ylang-ylang.
So if you guys are on Facebook Live, if you go to my Facebook thread, you could see the self-care with herbs and essential oils part 1. I took pictures, but I also put Deb's email. If you guys are interested in getting this sent to you via email, go ahead and send her an email and she'll be happy to help you. And if you have questions, you can ask her. And if you have questions right now, go ahead and ask and I can let Deb know. We are recording this for YouTube. It'll be uploaded.
Okay, so that was our massage oil. Simple, because you're using your infused oil just as is for your massage oil. Now, one neat thing to do with massage oil too is use it on the bottom of your feet. Everybody's probably heard of reflexology. I used to love to do it on my kids when they were little. It would really calm them down. And I'm not a big massage therapist or anything, but anybody can massage somebody's feet. It's easier to do somebody else's than your own. I can barely get my foot up anymore, but that's really a nice thing to do for somebody else. They say with reflexology that there's that every organ is represented on the bottom of your feet, and so when you rub those parts, you're actually healing those organs too.
Yep.
So that's a nice way to use your massage oil as well as on your body.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to work on is a healing salve, and the salve you can take it so many different directions. Just that was the messiest part, squeezing the infused oil. Now we have the oil. We can do Okay. Before class, because we only have about an hour, I wanted to be sure that we met our goals. So I put beeswax already in the measuring cup. And we're gonna make a double boiler of sorts with this. So there's 2 ounces of beeswax in there melting in the measuring cup in a saucepan with a couple inches of water. And so that makes a double boiler so that we don't burn the wax and we won't burn our oil when we put it in there. So we're gonna go to the recipe for the healing salve and get that started. Calls for, we're gonna put the salve in 2-ounce tins. Calls for, and again, you could change your measurements on this, but you keep the same proportions. For a cup of infused oil, you want 1 ounce of beeswax. And that's gonna make a softer salve. It won't be hard like a lip balm. It'll be a softer salve that you can then
Is it
spray.
beeswax?
Okay.
Holy cow.
Beeswax comes a couple ways. You can get it as a big block, which is kind of a pain in the neck because then you have to get a hot knife and try to cut it down into, like if you have a pound, cut it into 16 blocks so you have an ounce. Sometimes they sell it like in 1 ounce blocks. And the other way they sell it are these pellets.
That's what I ordered. Yeah.
Okay, good. I think before the last class, we had the big block.
Yeah.
So I chopped up these. So there's 2 ways, actually 3 ways it comes. Sometimes a big block, which is a pain in the butt. But when it comes in the 1 ounce things, those are handy to use.
The one
Linda
cute-
Black Elk used to tell me she used to get the raw beeswax from somebody that kept bees. And then she would melt it down and then pour it into ice cube trays, which happen to be 1 ounce cubes.
Oh, okay,
And that
gotcha.
was a real handy way for her to have it ready. So that's another possibility. Okay, this beeswax is almost melted. The salve, we're only going to be using the 1 ounce of beeswax to the cup of oil. And I melt the beeswax first so that the oil doesn't have to get that hot to melt it.
I got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Vicky asked, is 1 cup of infused oil to 2 ounces of beeswax?
That'll be for the lip balm. We're using 1 ounce to a cup for the salve. So it'll be a little bit softer, whereas we want it a little bit harder for the lip balm.
Okay.
Okay.
You got that?
Does that
Vicky?
make sense?
Okay. Yep. How's everybody doing on Facebook Live?
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we're stirring that infused oil with the beeswax, just waiting for that to melt together. And while that's melting, we could talk about what I call layering things. So we've got infused oil, beeswax, and what we can think about is what essential oils we might want to add depending what we want to do with this salve. Now, if you were doing the salve for arthritis, you might want to do cayenne, turmeric, you know, some of those, ginger, some of those things that'll like be more potent. If you were doing the salve as a vapor rub, you might want to add eucalyptus, cedarwood, you know,
Cedarwood.
some of those kind of things, juniper oil, be a good one. Those would be good things for chest, for congestion. What most of the oils we have are like things that are really good for skin because we're talking about taking care of yourself. And so we have all kinds of things. And again, on that list, it gives you an idea, some of the essential oils that you might want to use and layer it. I'm going to share some of the essential oils that I've been using for a skin salve for frontline workers who their hands are just getting, with all the sanitizer and hand washing, I've had a lot of friends tell me that their hands are just a mess, you know, raw and red. And so some of these essential oils you can put into a salve. Of course, the base carrier oil, infused oil that we have here is already good for skin. But we can layer it by using some essential oils that are also good for skin. And I'm going to suggest that we use lavender, geranium, thyme, and tea tree. So that's 4 different essential oils. And we're going to do 2-ounce tins. These come from Mountain Rose Herbs. You can get some similar ones from the internet, from Amazon. I like these. They don't screw, the tops don't screw on, they just pop off. You just kind of twist it and they pop off. I like that. Okay, so for a 2-ounce tin, that'd be 2 ounces of mixture, we can use 20 to 24 drops of oil.
Of
And
each?
that, no,
Or just total? Okay.
total.
So out
And
of
that would
4,
be a 2% solution, so we have 4. So I'm gonna go for 5 of each. But if we get 6, because sometimes there are sneaky little guys, those drops, they jump out. If we get 6, that's okay. It's somewhere between 20 and 24 would be a safe amount for that. Again, if we were gonna do the whole
big batch?
batch, we could figure out, how many oils, and we could measure it out in a little cup ahead of time and then just add it all at once. I'm gonna work fast when we're ready and then just put.
Because
That's
that
it.
hardens pretty quick.
Fairly, yeah. You don't want to put it in too soon when it's real hot, but you don't want to wait till it starts to harden either. 'Cause
Then
you're gonna get it
then it's
gloppy.
gummy and
And
gloppy.
you'll see when you want your balms or salves to have a nice smooth top. They just look so professional and nice.
Okay.
But it's for your own if you're using it for your own family, it's okay if they're a little bit gloppy because you're learning, Okay, let's see if that's. Just a little bit more. While that's going, I'm going to start the lip balm one. Okay, so the lip balm's going to have the 2 ounces of the beeswax to the 1 cup.
And that you just let it boil for a little bit or
It's not boiling, it's just warm.
warm?
And I'm trying to melt that gently. The beeswax melted, but now the oil has to warm up too. And this one's almost done, but that way this one will be ready and we can go right to it. I don't want to go over our time. I want everybody to see everything. So. You know what we could do, Jen? Well, it's almost ready. Should we take a walk over to the board and
Yep.
we can get those recipes just in case someone doesn't get the handout, they'll still have the recipes. And again, the cup could be a half a cup and then just do a half an ounce of beeswax. You don't have to make the exact amount.
Go ahead and talk.
Okay, so here we have the basic infused oil. And this is just done in parts because you might want to do a cup, you might want to do a half a cup, you might want to do a quart of each, or some other dry measure. So here, and then again, the carrier oil could be whatever you choose. We're using organic extra virgin olive oil. But almond oil is very nice too, and your coconut oil, there's many. Okay, so this is what we did. 2 ways to infuse it. It could sit for a couple weeks on your refrigerator or some, fairly warm place, or put it in a crock pot with the water bath. And then that basic oil you can use for many different things. And again, your herb will depend on what you're looking to use. There's so many. And a lot of them grow right in your backyard. Dandelion's good. Plantain, which is part of our mix tonight, grows all over the place, all over in the spring. Chickweed, There's just so many, and on that list, you'll see ones you probably would say, gee, I think grow in my yard. Dry them out, and you can make your infused oils. Okay, here is the massage oil that we, okay, just using an ounce of the oil and 10 to 12 of essential oil, the vitamin E as a preservative, and then it's ready to go. Here's what we're working on now is the salve. And again, you can do it however you want, depending what your use is. We're going to do a skin salve kind of tonight. And so this is what we're working on right now. We've got the ounce of beeswax and a cup of oil. So it'll be a little bit, I would just say a little bit softer. Then we're going to go to the lip balm, which is again the cup, but it's 2 ounces of beeswax. So that'll be a little bit stiffer. We're still going to do it in tins, in small tins, but they do sell those like a chapstick type of wind-up container. You can do it in those if you prefer that. But again, you wouldn't want something too soft or it's going to swish out. So you want something a little bit harder. And the thing with all of these salves, things that beeswax and everything, when you touch it to your skin, it just melts and it just smooths right out. So it's a very nice feel. And then the last thing we're going to make tonight is lotion bars. And again, for that, we use the infused oil, shea butter, which is available. A lot of people use it as a moisturizer, but you want the pure shea butter and beeswax again, and some essential oils if you want. And so we're going to do that, the last one. And so those would be all things you can use your infused oils for. The thing is too, once you have your infused oil, you can do sugar scrub or you can do a salt scrub. And all that is your infused oil, and you put your salt or your sugar in it, and that kind of can help lift impurities out of your skin and so on. So many uses for those oils.
Okay.
If you do one with basil or some oregano, things like that, you can even put it on your salad. Here's this oil. Okay.
Sorry, guys, hold on.
I'm just going to do one for demonstration because I don't want to run out of time. So we have our tin here, and we said in order to have 20, so we're going to do 5 drops of each of these. I'm going to aim for it. I'm going to get the caps loose first.
Can you hear Vicky? Okay. Can you guys hear on Facebook Live? Ooh. Anybody out there?
Is anybody still here? Okay, so here's our infused oil with our beeswax, and we're going to pour some into a 2-ounce container. The other thing we can do, again, we can add the vitamin E. It'll just act as, again, as a preservative. It's not necessary, it's optional, because so many of the things in here, even like your tea tree is antifungal, I think, and antimicrobial.
Like a microbial, or you see some
Antimicrobial.
yeah, you'll see it sometimes in some medicines, or if you walk through the pharmacy area, you'll see something saying it has microbial or something like that.
Yeah, antibacterial and all that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pour oil into this tin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's lavender. 2, 3, 4, 5 geranium. 2, 3, 4, 5 thyme. 2, 3, 4, 5 tea tree. I know I got a couple extra drops in there. So when you're using essential oils, always be sure to cap them right after you use them because they do evaporate and they're too expensive to waste. So
And so I guess one of the things is can we do a comparison versus this is all homemade with herbs and essential oils versus something over the counter or something you buy at a pharmacy, CVS or Walgreens.
just for an example, and we're doing this as a skin salve, but Vicks Vapor Rub. Okay, a lot of people, I grew up using it or having it used on me, I guess you'd say. And I mean, it's okay, but it's a petroleum product. When you think about it, it has petroleum in it, and I wouldn't want to put that on my kids. It was put on me as a child, but knowing what I know now, why would I use a petroleum product when I can do this?
Yep.
And this is when I could use my eucalyptus oil, my peppermint, and maybe my camphor. Really young children, I guess eucalyptus isn't, some people say it's okay, some say not, but you can always use the cedar wood, which again, that cedar has a lot of the same things that the eucalyptus would have, or even use tea tree, because again, that's another one. So,
so with this, guys, what we're trying to accomplish with all of this is we've been doing medicines long before our relatives came across the ponds to interrupt our lifestyle. You also got to remember too, you know, a lot of the medicines is traditional to where we live here, and so it's easy for us to have. But more than anything, we just got to be better at taking care of ourselves and our family, and that means taking these classes and learning how to make your own traditional medicines. We don't have to be complaining and having something to say about IHS or our insurance. We can save ourselves by making our traditional medicines at home.
Okay, and then like always, label, because you won't remember. Skin salve, lemon balm, plantain, infused olive oil with essential oils, lavender, thyme, tea tree, and geranium. So, and we're gonna let that harden, and hopefully by the end of class, you can see it hardening. So that product's done.
So usually it takes about 45 hours to harden, give or take?
It depends if you wanted to. If I put them all on sometimes I put them all on a cookie sheet and put them in my fridge, they'll harden very quickly.
Oh,
This is room temperature. It'll be starting to harden. I don't want to wiggle it too much. I want to get that nice. I want you to see that nice top that you get. Looks so professional.
okay.
But we'll move on to doing lip balm.
And that's the 1/2 ounce tins, right?
Right, and these also are from Mountain Rose, but you can get similar products on Amazon or probably other.
Did you ask me to order those? Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we get those 2 sizes. They do make other sizes too, like if you want to do big containers of salve, you could do 4 ounces. We find these are pretty versatile because by the time you use it up, you'd probably be ready to make a new batch. You know?
The 4 ounce tins, if you were to do bigger?
That's what I gave Becca. That was a 4 ounce.
Okay.
Okay. So these 2 ounce, I mean, it still takes a while to use them up, but at least then you'd be making it fresh when you do it again. Really sorry to skip around. It's just we're trying to get all these things completed.
Actually, we're doing
Almost
pretty good.
melted. What I'm going to start doing, and I hope I don't confuse anybody, this is the lip balm that is going right now. It's almost ready. But while we're waiting for that, I'm going to start the lotion bars so we don't run out of time. So for the lotion bars, and again, the recipe that I put on here is a 1/4 cup of 3 things, but it could be a tablespoon of each thing. If you just want to make 1 tin at a time, it could be a cup if you want to make a whole bunch. So again, you decide what quantities you want to make, but it's the ratio is the same amount of each thing. So okay, so this time we'll use the beeswax. I think they call these pastilles. They're the little broken up bits. So we're going to go with a quarter cup of each item. Quarter cup of beeswax. This is shea butter. This is certified organic and 100% pure. There's a lot of different, you can buy. I only got a small container because I wasn't sure how I was going to like the lotion bars, but they're really nice. So I'll be buying a larger quantity.
Organic.
I get the organic whenever I can, because if it's going to go on your skin or your kid's skin, you kind of like to know it's been not have GMOs or but it also that usually if it's organic, it's whatever it is grown sustainably. Okay, so here's our shea butter. And then quarter cup of our infused oil. We can start that.
See, even with my mask, I can smell like different aromas. It's kind of like,
All right, so now balm. It's ready. So we got the beeswax, the 2 ounces to the 1 cup of infused oil. And I'm only going to pour 1 tin. We'll do more after. But you know, again, you can put some of your and for a 2% solution of essential oils for the lip balm for the 1/2 ounce tins, it would be 5 to 6 drops. That's it. So again, you don't want to overdo it because especially putting on your lips. And I think we're going to do, I love this orange peppermint combination. I do a lot with that. Lemon tea tree. I mean, you can like make some really beautiful combinations, and they're healthy as well as they smell good. And so if you had a lot of peppermint, it could kind of, you know, that minty thing, you don't want to have your lips like puff out from the mint, you know, or something like that.
some
So
have bad reactions.
stick with what is safe. More is not better with essential oils. Okay, so 5 to 6 drops in a 1/2 ounce tin. Just letting that cool a little tiny bit. The nice thing about using these measuring cups, like a double boiler, is that you can pour right out of them when you're working. And if I have to stop, or we stop and we go back after, we just warm this up again and we go to it. Okay, so for 5 to 6 oils, I'm going to do 4 orange and 2 peppermint.
So it's not overpowering.
Right, and so if somebody is a little sensitive to the peppermint, this shouldn't bother, it's only a couple drops. Again, these are fun to fool around with because there's so many combinations and things to do. I recently did one, lavender sage, and that was really nice too. Citrus always smells so uplifting, you know. And again, if you have a little skewer or something like that, you can kind of mix so your oils don't sit mixed in. Right over here.
And you let that sit for a little bit.
And again, we can do a label. Because these labels aren't huge and the tins aren't really big, I'm just going to put orange peppermint lip balm on it. That's it. And it works. You know, a lot of these things that we're making tonight and we're going to be doing on part 2, they would make really nice gifts. You know, if you're looking for gifts for people you work with, or stocking stuffers with Christmas coming, or any of those kind of things, these are really nice gifts. You can kind of make your labels as fancy as you want, but it's pretty easy to do a whole bunch of ones too. Okay, let me see how. One more. I can talk about these lotion bars for a couple minutes in case we run out of time. We're going to make the lotion bars in these little acrylic. I don't know what they use them for. I know you can do little soaps in them. You can do ice cubes. You can do just about anything on these little acrylic. But what's nice about it is that you can pop your lotion bar out of it when it's finished. So they're kind of handy, and plus they have some really nice little shapes. Sometimes you see them at rummage sales, and they're nice to pick up, and you can use them for different things. I think people use them a lot for the soaps. Now the lotion bar, let me just show you a finished one in case we don't have time. So once you get, this is all, the beeswax is all melted and everything, the shea butter and the infused oil are all together. You can add essential oils if you want to. I didn't for my first batch, but you'll have them and they'll all be poured in here. Okay, so then you push, you see that? Push it out and you have your little lotion bar. Now you can use these, you can just rub them all over your body after you shower, and it just moisturizes your skin. And with that little bit of wax, I think it kind of seals in the moisture. But my favorite thing with these is calluses on your heels, knees, elbows, all the places that you get that dry, rough skin. They're terrific for. So they're handy. And again, you put a few of these in a little jar or a bag or something to make a nice gift. Any questions while we're waiting for this to warm up?
Nope.
No. Well, just I can Oh, Jen, look again how these are starting to harden.
Mm. Vicky, are you gonna be able to come over?
I think so, yeah.
You wanna start coming over?
Okay.
You get most of your stuff from like Amazon? Like the essential oils and stuff?
Mostly Mountain Rose herbs, but Amazon does have them, but I really trust the quality of Mountain Rose. Because you can go right on their website and you can see how they test, you know, if it's something that's wild gathered or whatever, harvested, they call it, you can look and see where it came from, you know, and they have quality control. And then their essential oils, they're all, they're peak, they're not watered down with, some of the oil. On part 2, the next part when we do it, we're going to be making, we're going to do a facial scrub with clay, and we're going to grind our herbs, and we're going to make a bath tea, kind of, would be a bath blend, something you put in your bathtub and fill it up, and it'll condition your skin and do all kinds of things. Or make an herbal, like a little pillow to help you relax when you go to sleep at night, and a couple other things I can't remember right offhand. But we'll have some fun doing those. But we won't be using the oil, we'll be using the plants in other ways. Almost.
No, this is the, what part? Oh, this is
This is part 1.
these are the lotion bars?
Yep.
Okay.
It's on there. Yeah, everything that we're doing tonight. But in part 2, I was just kind of giving a prelude to what's coming. Oh, and a foot scrub. We'll do a foot scrub too. Or a foot soap using herbs. Sometimes I wish I could make these just go a little bit faster. What do we have, Jen? About 10
We
minutes.
have 5:53.
We'll be able to get these poured. You can see how these are starting to harden.
Yeah, that looks nice.
She made some salve. My daughter's at CNA, so her hands are all cracked and stuff. And like in 2 days, just like nothing.
Cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to me, it's just amazing how much healing plants hold for us, you know. And it's kind of neat if you could go out in the spring and summer and harvest your plants yourself with tobacco and prayer, and you have it and you dry them, and then when the winter time comes or colder weather, then you can start to make some of your medicines and your, whether it's the elderberry or it's salves or just different
Be ready for winter.
family care. You have all that, and the thing is like from start to beginning, you know those plants.
Yep.
I think that's so cool. I mean, it's fine to order them if you don't have the plant. Like I didn't grow calendula, but I grew lemon balm this year, and it's really a kind of bushing out each year. So this year is going to be my big year to collect my own lemon balm. I just love lemon balm. It's got so many good qualities.
Good qualities in it.
And lip balm, it's even good. I think lemon balm is the one that's good for cold sores, particularly for herpes. Just check that.
I was gonna say,
Yep, especially herpes. So another neat thing too, when you start maybe not so much with the boiling water with young kids, but like my grandson, he's 8 years old, and he helps me make elderberry syrup. So he's learned, how to do that. He goes foraging with me. They both do, and sometimes they get into it more than others. But the thing is that they're learning that. They're learning, what plants. We were out last weekend, and I was telling them that those pine trees have lots of vitamin C in those needles. And if you ever need, you're in a survival situation, and you need, you want to have a balanced diet, and though it's wintertime, you don't have oranges, you can take those pine needles and make a tea, or even just chew on them. They don't taste delicious, but they're healthy, and you could prevent yourself from getting colds or pneumonia and things. My grandson says, I think I'd rather eat oranges. But the thing is he knows that all those pines are, are substitutes for vitamin C. Okay, so we put a little bit of vitamin E in here. And you don't have to, but since we have it. And let's see. We don't have to do an essential oil either, but let's put a little tea tree in because that's a good antimicrobial and smells good. But again, use what you like. That's a thing. So we've got I'm just going to put a little bit in. So now we're going to pour them in our mold.
And you got that out of Amazon, right? That
Yes.
mold?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a couple that I got at rummage sales. I think people try to do like fudge and candies in them too. And I got some really neat ones that we use for elderberry gummies.
Okay.
They're like little stars and things. I know they make the ones for elderberry gummies, and they're just little tiny bears. But they're so tiny that for me, that gelatin, like within a day or so in the fridge, it starts to shrivel a little bit. But these bigger ones, they last quite a while.
A little bit longer.
If the kids aren't at them all the time and they have eaten them all, they last a little bit longer, and they're bigger. So you can just take one and say, okay, that's about a couple teaspoons of syrup, So I just kind of keep my eyes peeled at rummage sales and things too. You never know what you'll find. Or sometimes dollar stores surprise you, and they'll have something like this. So instead of spending like $2 for $9, I think these were, you might see them at the dollar store individually for $1. You just never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so this recipe with a 1/4 cup of each of the 3 items makes 6. And I think these are like 2 tablespoons each, something like that. I had measured, but I can't remember. So we'll let those harden. And the class will be over, but this is what they'll come out like. This is made with calendula oil. This is calendula and plantain, I think. No, lemon balm and plantain.
Lemon balm.
So it'll be a little bit greener when they come out. This was calendula is kind of yellowish. So, but again,
So it depends
very,
what you make it out of, what the color would come out.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they do make some colorants that are all natural and stuff. I think if you use beet powder, I don't know if
Okay.
beet powder might be good for a lip balm. I don't know if I'd want to be rubbing it on my body just in case.
Yeah.
If it was a little bit pinkish, but you can play around with things like that. There's just so many neat things you can make with the plants. I'm kind of excited about this face mask that we're going to be doing in the next class. Because I got the natural clay, and then you can use whatever herb you want, depending on your skin conditions and stuff. And we'll talk about how you can adapt things. Okay, so any questions? Because I think we're wrapping it up.
Any questions, Leanne? Leanne, I sent her email to you on your Facebook Messenger.
Oh, my email is at the top of the handout too.
Yeah, I'm gonna send
But
her.
that's to get the handout, sorry.
I sent it to her because I took a picture too, so.
Anyway, my email's on there if anybody has any questions. I may not know the answers, but I'll try to look them up for you. And again, you know, a lot of these healing properties and stuff with the plants and essential oils, you can Google them. You know, if you have, say, peppermint oil, or you have, I'm trying to figure out, eucalyptus essential oil or something, you can look up and see all the different things it can be used for. You know, so you don't have to go buying 100 different oils, or, you know, again, your olive oil makes a real basic oil for infusing as a carrier oil. So,
Okay,
everybody,
alrighty. See you on Thursday, 5 p.m. Central.